Hey everybody, welcome back to Peace Over Performance. How have you been? How have you been? I'm back. I'm back. I know. I've really had to process this coming back on. I've actually done a couple recordings and I deleted them. I've deleted them. And the reason why is because where we left off last time was talking about peace over performance in terms of establishing agency with the peace self. Agency with the peace self. And agency, of course, is this thing where we establish where we are and why we're there on our own terms. Agency is being able to be at peace with being on your own terms, setting your own way forward, having your own independent thoughts, making your own decisions, having agency. I've determined where I am, not based on what somebody told me I should be. And so in this world where we are so driven and captured by performance, we develop this performance self, which is, responsible, determined, and achieving. And responsible, I don't want to let anybody else down. I take on things, I don't say no. I get myself over involved. If it's a work situation, you're leading a team, you don't delegate, you stay involved in too much because you feel like it's all on you. It's all about you, it's all on you. And determined is I'm just not going to give up, even though maybe I need to step back and readjust or assess or change course. But no, I'm determined because I said I would, and I'm determined and I'm going to just get through it. And then achieving is, this sense of I got to feel like I did a good job as a parent, you know, pleasing this boss, as a spouse, whatever it may be. Okay, we know the performance self so well, but the peace self, this always worthy, loving peace self. It is the place where we need to actually establish agency because we are the opposing forces of the peace self is a feelings of worthlessness. There's no worthiness because I'm worthless. I'm not important to anything or anyone. So why does my opinion matter? Why does my own why do my own thoughts matter? That would be the dark opposing force to the peace self. Or I feel unloved, so I'll just keep everything to myself. Or learning, I give up trying to understand. I'm just giving up. This is the antithesis to the peace self. And we need to continue in this life with agency in our peace self. So that's what I was talking about. And I tell you what, I'm going to tell you, as I'm digging into this, it's therapy for myself and it's, gotta fix my hair. Um, it's a deep topic. So I'm having to simplify it. I'm having to break this up into pieces and parts and just maybe do some shorter videos, shorter sessions essentially, so that we can start to unpack it a little bit. And where I'm at is like, how do we create this independent thinking? And it comes into it just boils down to a couple things. One is just to be able to meet ourselves in a place of reflection with compassion and to create space and step away from distractions. So be able to meet ourselves regardless of what's going on around us, is being able to carve out that space to decide what is our own view on something. Why does it matter and why do we need to protect it and take action on it? That's really, really, really important to be able to do that. And to really, what happens is when we step into really being able to establish our own perspective, our own point of view, our own independent position on something, we have to actually then, I started getting into this, we have to then be able to look at the quality of our thinking. Like literally, what is the quality of our thinking? Here's what's beautiful about you and I. Our Creator, our amazing, beautiful God, designed us with both a brain and a mind. A brain and a mind. Okay, so there's a brain, it's the organ but we have a mind, we have a will, we have a spirit, we have a soul. And we were designed with metacognition. And we talked about it last time, this metacognition, ability to step back and hold court with the thoughts that we have. Thoughts that we have coming forward in our brain, which there's hundreds of them every day. But how much time do we set aside in a intentional way to examine our thought life on situations in our life and create agency? So here's what I want you to think about. Here's all I want you to think about. Okay. First thing I want you to think about is where do you right now? Where do you right now in your life with either a person, a situation, a circumstance, where do you right now need to form your own point of view? Where do you need to do that right now? Where do you need to create your own position and build a perspective for yourself? Where do you feel like you're being pulled and tugged into things that they're not, your peace self isn't going there? Maybe your performance self is to please other people, to be determined, to try to be accomplishing, but maybe your peace self, you know this, I'm saying this, now that I'm saying this, where do you need to establish your own perspective on something where you feel like you're being pulled into some place or pushed into some place that you do not belong for whatever reason, and you have not sorted it out? Okay, where is that? Where is it? Um, there's two things that can happen that we want to be aware of when we're establishing agency with the peace self. We want to be aware of the drift. The drift. Listen, I am, you guys, I've talked about this. I joke, recovered people pleaser. I could still, I still, wrestle with, that when I'm around. I mean, I'm very extroverted, and in that way, I think I can come off as a strong personality. But in reality, when I'm around very, very, very strong personalities, and they have very, commanding opinions, and I have to really watch myself to not drift and merge into whatever they're saying or feeling and going along with them. I have to be able to say, no, I need to think about this. I need to give this my own opinion. And we can, without even consciously being aware of it, just drift down the road or drift with a circumstance. We get not volunteered, was it voluntold to do something, and we just do it, you know? Um, the drift. Or the other thing that can happen when we don't have agency with the peace self is we can just react. We can react. And I see this in my executive coaching practice when I have clients that become defensive with somebody. They say defensive things. They want to come up with a quick answer in the conversation, or they want to push back, and it's this protection mechanism, when truly what's really happening is we're sort of having someone weave a reality when we haven't decided how we want to be with it. We haven't sized up the situation. We haven't sized it up for ourselves yet. So we deflect, or we get defensive, or we shut down. When we're being reactive, there's the fight, flight, or freeze thing going on. So what situations in your life right now do you think, okay, I need my own agency on this. I need my own agency. I'm either drifting towards something unconsciously, just letting it happen, or I'm starting to be reactive. I'm starting to be really reactive. And I need to figure it out. Okay. That's one thing I want you to think about. Uh, I want you to think about how much reflection time you give yourself. How much reflection time do you give yourself to just sit back and write out whatever this thing is where you feel you need agency? Um, Do you give yourself time regularly to reflect? We're kind of reflecting all day long, generally speaking, in our conscious and unconscious mind. But I'm saying literally do it as an exercise. How do you sit down and reflect? I have friends and clients that are busy every nanosecond of the day. They stay busy, and being busy is their way of just getting through life. And they don't like to sit with their own thought life very much. They don't like to slow down and do it. But sometimes I'm telling you, to be able to develop agency, we might need to. Now, this can be tricky, and there's maybe we need to do a session on, journaling and how to journal. I love to help my clients get into journaling practices of some kind, but some of us are just, that's not our thing. I will mention, I'll put it in the notes to this session here. I did take a very interesting workshop a couple of weeks ago that I thought was really helpful, and it was called Doodle Your Emotions. It's like, I think you can find this she was great. The facilitator was great. It's an online course, not expensive, really well facilitated. You don't have to be an artist. And it's truly a way of getting some of your thoughts and feelings on paper to sort out what you're dealing with. And so wherever this is my recommendation is something to experiment with if you so desire. If you struggle with this reflection time, this might be an easy, interesting, creative, fun, energetic exercise to do. You don't have to be, like I say, a great artist. Um, because sometimes what we can't do is we can't sort out our feelings. I mean, I'm sorry, we can't sort out our position and our voice and the agency we need and what we really need and want in our own terms until we've also sorted through some of the way we're feeling about things. And she just does an excellent job. So, and gives you exercise to do on your own so you can, stop. And I've been doing it. Like, I'll sit down and journal a little bit every day on what happened for the day, how I felt, what I think about it, and what's my position on it going forward. See, here's the interesting little thing, and this doesn't have to be like, you spend 2 hours. I'm talking like minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, is when you proclaim your own agency on something. You get it specific for yourself, and you find your own perspective and words on it. Like maybe you stumbled in a situation during the day that really got you off balance and you don't know what to do with it, and you can just forget about it. Or maybe it's something you don't need to forget about. Maybe it's something that's pointing you to figure something out. You're having this recurring conversation and it feels really circular with somebody at home or at work or with yourself, and you're like, okay, I got to make a decision about where I'm at with this right now, and call it. But to get to that point, what happens is when you get enough time to at least get it, I like to get things on paper because it makes it a little bit black and white. Um, then you can once you make a clear position and you establish your voice, your perspective, your point of view, your position independently, then it opens up, well, what choices do I have? What decisions do I want to make? Okay. So how do you reflect? Um, and the other thing is, uh, what influences what influences are relevant? Where are we looking for? I mean, where are we looking for guidance? How much are we uh, bringing healthy guidance to the table? I think sometimes when we're in a place with low agency on something and reactive, we might take the quick answers, or we might take the most vocal influencer on the situation. We might not really think about where do I need to get good guidance on this? I mean, one way to think about it it's hard. I mean, this is situations we all face is when we're in a situation where we have a health issue in our life. And this is something I've been dealing with recently with some back pain. And we have to create agency. It's as simple as this is when you have a medical issue, you have to become your own patient advocate, right? You can't basically navigate a reality of a medical problem that you're facing without also somehow becoming your own patient advocate, which means that now we have AI, we can go and do AI research, but all the things we have to lay out how we're really feeling about it. What do I really want to do to get treatment? Do I want to go as far as surgery? Do I want to just believe what this doctor says to me? Whatever. That's a great example of establishing agency is we have to do research and think about it. What do I really want to do with this? And what are my choices? So, okay, I want you to think about these things. Uh, I have one book I already talked about. If you're a book person, I'll bring it up again because I think the material is just great. Again, it's The Power of Agency by Dr. Paul Napper and Dr. Anthony Rowe, and it's just so good. But I talked about it last time. And also the material this is very good material. I have a number of her books and pop in and out of them, but it's I know I'm going to put these either where I'm ever going to end up placing the image of the book, but the Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. And Dr. Carolyn Leaf is a very interesting woman. She is a neuroscientist, but she writes about uh, the spiritual Christian intersection and our mind and our brain in a neuroscience. She mixes science and spirituality in this really amazing way in all her material. And she really helps illustrate in practical ways how we can take a hold of our thinking. So, again, part of the agency is not only to sit and examine your thinking, but also to understand the quality of it. So, okay, there's so much packed into this topic. So much packed into it. Like I say, I'm just unwinding this like a piece at a time. And I just wanted to come in real quick and tell you I did not leave you. Okay. And I am still here and I'm doing my stuff, but I mean, I'm going to keep unpacking it. So next time we're going to keep talking about building agency with the peace self. But this was just to get you started today, just to get you started down the road today. All right, guys, it was great seeing you. I'll see you next time. Remember, your peace must fuel your performance. I'll talk to you later.